Welcome everybody. Also, say hello. Look, I have a special guest with me today. Mr. Sullivan was my high school animation teacher, but still my mentor today. You want to say hello?
Hello, everybody.
They can kind of hear you on the mic. So, all right. So Sullivan's gonna be hanging out. We're gonna be. I may be chatting with him as well. But welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Right now, for the rest of you, welcome. As you can see, we are breaking in the new studio. I think I set this to live stream on all of my channels, but I really won't know until we're done or until you comment. So if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you can comment. I'll be able to see your comment pop up. But let me show you also all the people on Instagram. Hello from Chile. My mom said, hi, Mr. Sullivan. Top Shot Kingdom, shout out to you. Who else? Just let me know where you are watching from. But let me give you guys a little tour of the new studio real quick. Let me pull this up. There's so much to catch up on. I think the last time I did a live stream was maybe 6 months ago. And what's crazy is how much has happened between now and then. If you've been following me on social, you know that, let me show you this. All right, so we've got the canvas over here, ready to go. But if you've been following me on social, you know that I've been on tour with Andrea Bocelli for the past, on and off for the past year. So we just wrapped that up in December. And I'm gonna share a little bit about that while I'm creating this portrait. But if you can see the description anywhere you're watching this, you can see that what today's portrait is. I gave a little hint, so I'm super excited about that. Yeah, here's the thing. I haven't tested any of this live stream equipment yet to do it live, so this is the very first time. So it's kind of fitting that Sullivan's here to help teach me through this. But no, Sullivan's doing some amazing things as well with just bringing animation education, I would say more so arts, media, and entertainment education to so many students, not only in this area, but beyond. So we'll get into that. Again, welcome those of you who are joining. My name is David Garibaldi, and we're gonna get started with the one painting today. If you saw in the description, I'll be painting a portrait of Teddy Swims. But let me know, where are you watching this? Where is this popping up for you? What platform? Is it Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? I just signed up for Kick, so there's probably no one on there. I know we're on Twitch as well, so you'll have to let me know and give me a thumbs up. So we're gonna start in about, let's say 2-3 minutes. So if you hop back on, I'll be on for about an hour from now. But you can see we're in a brand new home. This is super exciting. Let's see, let me pull up some of the comments on Instagram. Let's see. There we go. Shout out to Zane Silmy, the people of Sacramento. Again, also Steampunk Cigar. I miss you guys. By the way, as soon as we finished this new studio, first thing I did was light up a cigar to celebrate. So the smell of cigar has gone away, and now it's time to fill the air with paint fumes, which I'm super excited about. Also, shout out to Matthew, looks like Horowitz. You saw me with Kiss. Yes, they were amazing. All right, so shout out your city before we get started. Wherever you're watching this, I'll read some comments from here on Instagram. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you leave a comment as well, and those will pop up for me. So let me know what city you're watching from. I know Zane is in Sacramento. I see Philly, that's SIRXJ, shout out to you. I see my mom watching from Elk Grove, as always. Mommy Lopez in Woodland, Abstract_Tro in LA. Matthew Horowitz coming to us from St. Louis. Man, we have been all over the country in this past year. So this time last year, we went out on tour with Andrea Bocelli, who is he calls himself this, but I think the whole world calls him the most beloved tenor, I think, of all time. And if you're into opera or classical music, he is the GOAT of opera. So much so that he sells out arenas and stadiums all around the world. And he brought me along to just paint during one set. And each of those paintings were auctioned off and raising money for his foundation, the Andrea Bocelli Foundation. So super fun. It feels good to be home. We started working on this new studio before I left. And now I had done some painting, but now we're really breaking it in. Like you're gonna get a nice, a cool experience. Again, I don't know how this is gonna go. We're gonna start in 1 minute, by the way. Okay, so some more shout outs before we get started. I see My Art Classes, Petro, Sacramento. I see Nat Avi in Sacramento. A lot of Sacramento. Sick Dotone in LA. I see the Bahamas. Shout out to Prestonism. Ocala, Florida. I see Miami. Awesome. Okay, you guys are leaving the comments. I appreciate that. All right, so we're gonna get started. Let me just give you a quick preview of what's gonna happen. So over the course of, it may take 30 minutes. It may take an hour. I don't know yet because I've never done this portrait before, but I'll be doing one portrait today. Let's go to our center camera. So I'll be doing one portrait today of Teddy Swims, who's one of my favorite artists, musicians, and also he's a character. So he has a lot of just different characteristics that it doesn't take much to bring him to life, to really grasp it, but it's still gonna be a fun portrait. Yeah, and then let's try something else. And then also I will cut to this as well so I can talk to you and show you the painting at the same time. But if you guys are ready, all right, so let's get started. But thank you guys for joining me wherever you are in the world. I appreciate it. By the way, let me go back here real quick. By the way, if the audio is off at all or something's wrong with the video, please just leave a comment, let us know so we can fix those things. This is our first live stream in this brand new studio. We just want to make it right. So let's get back to it. Okay, so with these portraits, I always like to start, whether I'm performing on stage or whether I'm, here in the studio. There's this technique, Sullivan, correct me if this is wrong or not, but the undertone. The undertone is it's kind of like not just a color, but like a feel that you want to constantly be there no matter what you paint on top. At least that's how I've described it. What do you think? Is that all right? He's looking at me a little funny right now. He's like, that's kind of right, but
You're good.
But no, feel free to share and I'll re-share to them. How would you describe an undertone?
Undertone is the life of the painting.
Undertone is the life of the painting. And how so? Go further into that. Why would you consider it the life of the painting?
Especially with their dark translucent or skin. So just painting what we see, there's more underneath us from straightforward blood, muscle, bone. Also the aspect
Man, I wish you guys could hear it right now, but I'm gonna try to summarize what he said. But the undertone is what's beneath the skin, and yes, we're filled with bones and blood and all different layers, and you can imagine that's physically, but when you're creating a portrait, there's still like a spiritual element to portraits, and so this color kind of represents that. It's the under spiritual element of what you're built off of. Is that right? All right. That's called BSing 101 right there. Oh man, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Let me know where you are in the world. I'm not gonna lie, this feels good to just be like painting in the studio. One thing you'll notice if you've ever watched any of my past live streams is my paint is a lot higher. So I used to have my paint on the ground. I'm 42 now. These knees I gotta save them. I still got a lot of painting to do, and I can't do it if I'm sore all the time. So these are like a lot of broad strokes that I'm doing with this. I am also using the undertone to block in the portrait. So when you start any piece of art or portrait, I know you guys see me on stage and I'm like throwing paint around, you know, you think everything's going in the right place at the right time. It's usually not. But what I'm doing, like what I'm doing right now, is I'm just blocking off where I want pieces of this portrait to be. But be as loose as you can with this first layer. This layer will determine how either loose or tight this will look at the end. Now we can always add layer on layer on layer on top, but this sets a tone for me as I create. All right, so I'm gonna go a little opposite. I know we just started very warm with this orange, but as I start blocking this in, I'm gonna go a little cool in sections where there's less light. So I'm gonna define the difference between what has light and what has shadow by using cool and warm tones. Now you can do this with any color, but when I do this, I just want to give enough information to you, the viewer, that things that are either further away or further from the light are cooler, and objects that are closer to the light will be warm. And so I'm establishing that right now as I start to paint. Let's go a little bit, let's go even cooler. I probably should have washed my brushes before I did this, but look at that, just super cool right there. You know, let's put a little bit of cool right here. Now, with this painting style, performance painting, there's a lot of different layers to preparing, but when I first find my reference image, I get that image and I take out as much information as possible. And what I do is I only leave behind in my reference the least amount of information that says the most about the character, about the person, the portrait that I'm making. And so even with this, as I'm painting now, it doesn't need to be perfect. The point of me sharing this with you is I don't need every single detail to be in the perfect place. I need enough information to be in the closest place to communicate to you, the viewer, who it is. So if you're just joining us, I'm creating a portrait of Teddy Swims. You can kind of see the profile. I don't know if you can see it or not. See the profile come to life. Figuring out this portrait in front of you, which is the fun part. So I'm gonna spoil you guys for a little bit because I have an in-studio audience of one. Sean Sullivan, Mr. Sullivan, my high school animation art teacher, is here. He stopped by just to kind of check in, share some projects he's working on, but I was like, hey, I'm going live for the first time. Would you mind joining? So, you know, maybe we can tap into you for questions that they may want to know. Maybe things that you may already know about this art style or painting or creating, or even just, you know, careers in the arts. But maybe you can prompt some questions. I'll leave it up to you. Let's get that music back on. Let me go check on that. There we go. It's funny that once that music dips out, I'm like freeze up. It's like a reset for me. So another thing that I do when I'm painting during these live streams is I'm kind of going through the motions of how I would paint faster on stage, but I'm just taking my time. So would you mind asking them what I can help you with? By the way, feel free to leave your questions in the comments. Let me know. All good? Wrong place? All right, so far we've established the undertone with the warm color. I'm adding now the cool colors for parts of the subject that are furthest away from the light. And now we're gonna start stepping that up in, let's just say, tone, because I'm gonna go with these, as we get warmer, we get a little bit more clear about the details in these parts of the portrait. So one of my favorite things about Teddy Swims is he literally looks like you would not want to run into him in an alley with like tattoos all over his face and looks kind of scary, but literally sounds like an angel. Like I love the dichotomy of that look and feel. Okay, so what was her name? Angel Maiden Moon? Maiden Moon. Angel Maiden Moon asks, how did I get my career started? I'm gonna give you the cliff notes that started in high school. So I started my career with these passions that collided to get me ready to start it as a professional career. One of those was art was always a foundation of my life growing up. So that was always established and that was always there. And then in high school, I started getting into graffiti. I also played music growing up as well. But when I was doing graffiti, that's when I came across Mr. Sullivan, who's joining me today here in the studio. And during that time, he introduced me to these different careers in arts, media, and entertainment. So I thought I wanted to be an animator. I never thought I'd be picking up a paintbrush in my life. As time went on, I did not graduate high school, to the disappointment of not only my parents, but also Mr. Sullivan. But because of that, I was just in survival mode between 18 and 20, trying to figure out who I was, what I wanted to do. And that led me to start experimenting with painting live. Now, I was already comfortable painting live because I had that experience with dance, with performance, with music, and also desperation, not having money for rent. So that helps speed up the process of learning how to paint live. And I started just painting live in local jazz clubs and nightclubs in downtown Sacramento, California, which is still my home today. And those experiences painting live led me to a gentleman who introduced me to the art form of performance painting. He asked me if I knew about a gentleman named Denny Dent. And Denny Dent had started this performance painting style in the 80s, popularized it in the 90s, and I was completely inspired by his style of art, his performance painting. Started teaching myself, and that's really where we began. But I wouldn't really call it a career at first. It was a lot of learning in front of people. Like, I think that's why I'm so comfortable with this right now, doing the first live stream in the studio, not trying this stuff out, because I was very comfortable with throwing myself in front of crowds and figuring it out. And so that's how it all began. I just started teaching myself in my garage how to do this style of painting. And from that point on, just learning in front of people. I would say the actual career, like doing this performance painting consistently, I think that's really started happening from doing local shows, whether it was like a nightclub or corporate events in the Sacramento area, and just convincing people to hire me to perform at their events. And then that's when the hustle started, and it's truly been a hustle since then. But great question. Thanks for asking the question. Let me know if you get any more great questions. I'm gonna mix in a little bit more red into this first flesh tone that I'm using. Actually, I have a question before we move any further. Let me go here to one of my center cameras. As I'm creating, I would love to, let me go back to this camera right here. So as I'm creating, you see the portrait behind me. I kind of have this, I've envisioned having different resources available during these live streams, like a list of my paint colors in the description below, or even a link to the guide of the portrait that I'm referencing as well. And so I'm just curious, those of you who are watching this, artists or creators, would you want any guide or resources so that you could do paintings like this? And whether you follow it along live or you watch it and do it on your own, but you have the resources step by step, let me know. Just let me know in the comments below. So let's get back to the painting. All right, so I added a little bit more red. I don't know if it's doing the effect that I want it to. I think I'm just gonna go more red. I think knowing where I want to take the portrait, sometimes I add red just after the undertone if I want to create a little bit of saturation. So a lot of times I'm at these live events and my portraits pop up on the screens, and I'm always like curious how it looks to the audience. So sometimes I will paint it in accordance to how it appears on the live screens at live shows. And that means giving it a little bit more saturation. And usually you see like the red really super saturated. And that's what I'm adding to this right now. Wipe those brushes off. Let's keep going, building up this portrait. Now I gotta remember some of the face tattoos on Teddy Swim's face. Ooh, great question. Who was that? Abstract Tro on Instagram just asked, do I paint better when I'm on a timer or just kind of free flowing? My answer to that is I paint different. So when I'm on a timer, let's just say I'm doing an NBA halftime and I have exactly 6 minutes to get the painting done, because the mix is going and the mix is gonna end at some point. And if I go over, the team could potentially have to pay fines because of TV rights and different things like that. So with that said, the painting has the energy from the movements of what it takes to do that. Now in here, I'm still painting fast. I mean, I'll get this done in definitely under an hour with actual real painting time. But I get to mix colors in a different way. But I would say this, even if I had 2 hours to do this, I wouldn't enjoy it, 1, and 2, I don't think it would have the same energy with having a timeline in mind. So I would say if it's as fast as 6 minutes, it's gonna look and feel different. If it's as fast as painting this, well, I've only been on the live stream for 28 minutes. So really I've been painting for about less than 20 minutes. I still enjoy this. So I say this, bring on the challenge, whether it's a timer or whether it's 60 minutes, but I do enjoy the pressure of just going with my instinctual decisions in the moment to paint. And I would recommend it to every artist. Don't give yourself all the time in the world, because the reality is, if you're a professional artist or painter or creator, we all have deadlines. So I always look at it like, look, this is gonna be great practice for me no matter what, especially early on in my career. Just meeting deadlines, being comfortable with that, which we all have to deal with those if we're professionals. I'm doing a lot of lighter touching with these brushes because Teddy Swims has a lot of tattoos on his face. So I'm using the edge of the brush, doing sort of a controlled scribble in some parts. Again, I'm not outlining exactly what those tattoos are, but I'm giving the impression of what they are. Ooh, that's a great question. So Steampunk Cigar class, does kind of where my mindset, where I'm at in life, affect the style of the painting? Yes. So today I had several different choices of what I wanted to create. One of the portraits I wanted to create was Tyler the Creator, and which would have been a really fun portrait to do. I'm gonna switch brushes real quick, but I had been putting this one off for a while, and I figured, you know what? If I do this portrait today and no one watches, I'm gonna be happy with it. So I chose this portrait solely based on just me wanting to create something that I'm gonna enjoy it no matter what. Which, you know, should always be the case. It's not always the case. Sometimes I wanna entertain with these portraits. But today it was just about like, look, if only my mom is watching, which is the case sometimes, I just wanna enjoy it. So yeah, the mindset definitely affects it. I would say when it comes to live shows and events, I don't really get to tap in as much to my personal creativity in the sense of like, I'm just gonna do what I want. A lot of it has to do with where I'm at and the relevance of that audience. But I would say whatever I end up choosing, I definitely connect with it in some way. And I freaking love Teddy Swims' music. I love his style, the way he presents it as an artist. It's very inspirational. One thing I do as well is touch these portraits up when I'm done. So I'm doing this part live with you, and it could be done, leave it how it is, but I like to touch them up a little bit. Great questions. Thanks, Sullivan. Appreciate relaying the questions. All right. Let me get one of these brushes over here. Let me just see if I can read some of the questions. Okay, so Joyce Daniel Suarez asked, do you remember the painting you did at Rider University of Rihanna? I remember Rider University, but I don't particularly remember that portrait. When I started my career early on, I used to perform at a lot of high schools and colleges. So Rider, I think they brought us out several different times to perform. But I always appreciate those early people that rolled the dice on us, because I know on paper what I do doesn't make sense, but I appreciate the people that took the risk. All right, let's go back to this. Well, we did learn that the music does cut out. Gotta figure that out. There we go. All right, I'm gonna leave that. Let's go, let's ditch this brush, put it in the water. Let's go get another one. Try to get the color of these teeth showing through. By the way, let me know in the comments, are you enjoying this portrait? Let me know down below. Give me a thumbs up. Or if you're not enjoying it, let me know too. I take it all. I can always learn something from criticism as well. And I think that as creatives, we should really embrace that more. You know, in some form, we all have teachers or coaches, and the more that we can learn, I guess the more that we can be challenged. That's the most important part. Is it's not necessarily about like just creating what makes you feel good and what's happy, but how can I grow from this last piece? I think that should be the ultimate challenge anytime you're creating. All right, any other questions? Leave them in the comments. Let me know. Happy to answer them while I'm painting. Teddy swims. A little secret, artists, those of you who want a little cheat code on how to paint better portraits, is study how they light characters in film. So look at look up and learn about key lights, fill lights, hair lights, like the hair rim light. There's a lot of cool tips and tricks. And I say that because it may help you pick better references for the portraits that you're painting. Especially if you're doing those custom portraits for those collectors and they're like, I want you to paint this picture of my kid. And the kid photo reference is like, you know, it's just an iPhone photo of them out in the middle of a field and the lighting's terrible. You don't really get a grasp of who they are, what the volume of their face. There's so many different elements to it. But if you start learning more about film, how they light portraits in film, it'll help you pick better references as you're creating. All right, this is my favorite part. This is gonna set it off. Teddy Swims is filled with tattoos, but also he wears some super cool glasses as well all the time. And if you know me, I'm all about that. By the way, shout out to Vintage Frames, Corey Shapiro. The frames that I'm wearing right now, I have been wearing these since 2019. So let me give you a little close up on these. So Corey with Vintage Frames, I've been collecting his frames for probably, I don't know, at least since 2018. Actually, maybe sooner than that. So switcher, stop that. But shout out to him. These frames right here are from Vintage Frames. And I've been wearing these for, gosh, since 2019 on tour. I just can't shake them. I like them. All right, back to the portrait. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. I'll go back and read some of the Facebook, YouTube ones. And then Sullivan, who's here with me, will read your comments on Instagram. Okay, step it up. Go a little bit brighter. So the reason why I also love doing these live streams is I get to give you portraits that I can't normally do at live shows. And again, these are the characters and musicians and people and icons that inspire me, inspire us. Maybe some things going on in the world that you can bring attention to. But That's why I love these live streams. All right, it's coming to life. Let's ditch these brushes. I'm gonna start filling in these glasses a little bit with that orange undertone that we used before. Let's mix it up. All right, let's wash these brushes off. So I do want to keep using them. Again, thank you to those of you who are watching, wherever you're watching this. Just shout out your city down below in the comments. Let me know where you're at, your city, your state, your country, and also welcome to our new studio. It's exciting. Now I'm gonna cut into a little bit of the blue on this beard so that I can create some more shape. Show that that light is gonna fall off. And also the black will still pick up some of the blue. So you'll get a little bit of the texture of the beard in the fill. So the number one question that people ask me when they're getting into this type of art form is where to start. And I always say, no matter what style of painting or art you're getting into, I always recommend start with figure drawing. If you can learn to draw the figure, you can really learn how to do a lot of these portraits live. I mean, and it's not just about the portrait, it's really about like how does the head work with the weight of the body or the position of the shoulders. And those are the things that you learn when you're doing figure drawing. And also let's keep in mind too, if you're performing a portrait in the middle of an arena, and let's just say the lighting is, casting, this has happened before, where the lighting is casting a reflection in your eyes, is to still have the understanding of a face and a portrait of where things go, it'll help you in those scenarios where you're in a crunch. You're like, where does this part go? What am I supposed to be doing? You can always refer back to, okay, where are things in proportion to how I learned how a portrait is or how the body is. So figure drawing is always my recommendation. Sullivan, would you agree?
Best figure drawing.
gesture drawing. So gesture drawing your figures is what he recommends. I would wholeheartedly agree. All right. Let's add a little bit of texture for these tattoos on his face. Now, I'll zoom in on one of these cameras when it gets near the end so you can see these details. All right, let's ditch this. Wet the hands down a little bit. Should I get a critique after this? Should I ask for one? Okay, so Teddy Swims has this really cool branding style where it's like the burnt orange on the white. So we're gonna fill in the white around him with this really cool suit as we near the end. And as we near the end, again, let me know where you are watching from, your city, your state, or country. I'm gonna read the comments in just a little bit. So get those comments ready so I can read them when I come back at the end of this. So this is really cool. When I started this, I talked about the undertone, this color that I wanted to add to this that you'll still see as I start to paint on top. And you'll see this orange peeking through. So what would normally just be black is now this warm tone. What I want you to feel that's associated with this Teddy Swims look and feel and texture as we block in the back of the head, but you see this orange peeking through. This is the part where I get to work, get my heart rate up. Again, just like this, I blocked in around it, but you see that orange peeking through. All right, we're gonna go around this texture with the beard. We'll come back and add some more texture with the beard, but that warmness is peeking through. Same thing here. With this style too, it's a lot has to do with what you leave behind, not what you add. So there's a balance of what to do and also when to stop. You learn that just based on instinct over time. You step back, look at your portrait, you're like, oh, I wish I didn't paint that part. And so you just do better next time. You take note of it. I mean, isn't that life? You make observations about things that went right, went wrong. You do more of the right things, less of the wrong ones. This painting style is the same. You only learn from repetition and you only learn from your observations. So it's okay to be critical of your work with the intention that you're going to improve from your mistakes. Get the side of that portrait. All right, look at that. It's just, isn't that crazy? Just adding that white to the background, the portrait just pops out like that. It always amazes me. This, like, paint to me sometimes feels like magic. Like this was a blank black canvas and now we feel like there's something there, and that's still wild to me. All right, this is the fun part. Before I do it, before I get to the last part of this, I want to just read some of your comments. There we go. I think I know what the problem is with the music. Okay, so let me get to your comments. In the meantime, while I'm here in front of the camera before we finish this portrait, let me know where you're watching from so I can shout you out. Okay, you see Teddy in the background. I'm gonna finish that portrait in just a little bit. Let's go back here. Okay, all right, I see Leontine Block from the Netherlands. Welcome to you. Miss Fields says loves Teddy Swims. Cara S, love me some Teddy. Awesome. Let's go to Instagram real quick. Check out those comments. We're gonna get back to this painting in just a moment. Just want to read some of your comments over here on Instagram. So I just refreshed it, so you have to let me know. But while you're leaving your comments or questions before we finish up this painting, as you can see, if you watched any live stream before, you could tell we are in a brand new space. We've been working on this for months, and this is the very first live stream from the studio. And I'll say this, we're what's today's date? January 3rd. We're only January 3rd, and I'll tell you this, I will be live streaming as much as I can while I'm in town. So it may be like this, it was at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on a Friday. Maybe Sunday, if I get time, we'll do another one in the afternoon. It'll be random times, but if you ever want to watch any past live streams, say you missed them, you can always visit my YouTube channel where a lot of them are hosted. Just look for Garibaldi Arts anywhere on YouTube. My channel will pop up, and you'll see a lot of the past live streams as well in there. So let me go back to Instagram. So I'm reading some of the Instagram comments. I see some comments from YouTube, X, and Facebook, and Twitch as well. So shout out to Crescendo 000. I'm their favorite artist. Thank you. All right, Space Dog from Ireland. Welcome to you. Mateo Charles, all the way in Australia. Shout out to you as well. Another fellow painter. All right. All right, so we're gonna get back to this. We're gonna finish this painting. Teddy Swims portrait right behind me. Let's go back to a little split screen. Working up a sweat now. I like that. All right. Switcher, there we go. Okay, all right, we're gonna get back to this portrait. You guys see it right there. As soon as I'm done, I'm gonna zoom in so you can see some of those details on the portrait. But Teddy Swims bringing this to life. We'll do some last throws and details as we finish this off. So let's go. Texture from the beard, the mustache. Actually, let's get some of this orange. Mix up a little bit of red and yellow. Want this to be my accent, some of those value changes on the face, accent some parts of the beard. You go off the portrait, add some movement outside of it, accentuate any lines, bring attention to parts that don't have enough, and then throw a little paint to create some more balance. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, finished portrait. I'm gonna zoom in on this. Let me wash my hands first so I don't ruin another lens. Thanks for hanging out today. Appreciate it. Thank you to all of you for hanging out today. On Friday, wherever you are. Maybe it's Saturday where you are. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. This goes like from Bob Ross to like Blue Man Group real quick. And you don't know when it's gonna happen. It just does. All right, let me zoom in on this real quick so I can give you guys a closer look. Give me one moment and I'm gonna come read some of your comments. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's go back. I'm gonna zoom in on this portrait. Thank you all so much for just joining, hanging out. We're gonna stay on just for a little bit more. Shout out to Teddy Swims for the inspiration for today's portrait. So much character and life, and you give everything us artists need to create an interesting portrait. So let's go here. You guys can see that. Let me just zoom in a little bit more on this portrait. There we go. And then we'll stay, if you're on Instagram, actually, I'm not sure where it's showing up vertical, maybe TikTok. But if you want a better viewing experience, definitely head to YouTube and you'll be able to see what we're looking at right now. So thank you all so much for hanging out. Should we do more of these live streams? I think whether you want to or not, I think I'm going to keep showing up. But I just hope that you enjoyed it. What I hope to do with these live painting experiences is just bring you in on the process, share a little bit of insight, sweat a little bit, get my steps in for the day. Let's go to that camera right there. Take a look. Mr. Teddy Swims. Shout out to Jason Avery. Appreciate you. And just thank you to everyone for just hanging out today. Let's go back to Instagram. Okay, so Abstract Tro said yes, please. Shout out to Animation Intern. Mr. Sullivan, thanks for being here today. Freezy17, I appreciate you. Oh, do me a huge favor. If you haven't already seen it, go to my Instagram and go back here. Go to my Instagram. One of my latest videos will show you how we made this studio. So it's not super in depth, but you'll see a bunch of clips about how this whole studio came together. And it was a labor of love, but it's always worth it. You know, when we get to this point, when we finally, this is my first live stream after we broke in this, the studio. There's a lot of work to still be done, but isn't that life in general? So shout out to Robert Wolf. He says, I walk away for 1 second and then the painting transforms. That's why I said this is like, literally goes from Bob Ross to like Blue Man Group real quick. It's just a blink of an eye. So thank you all for watching. Wherever you're watching this, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is the best place to watch these. But wherever you're watching, whether it's Kick, Twitch, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you are, thank you so much for being here. My name is David Garibaldi. Before we get out of here, I'm going to give you one last look at this portrait. And if you enjoyed this, I would just ask that you consider liking this video, subscribing, or following any of my channels for more content. I'm looking forward to this year. Happy New Year. And I'll leave you with this. This whole studio was a vision to create a space where we can consistently create, but also consistently teach. I envision the next 10 years being dedicated to transforming what I learned, learning from some of the best, and seeing how can we equip future artists for the future. It's a different world that we live in now. It's a different time. And so we want to make sure that we're giving you advice from true experience, from artists like myself and other artists who are out here doing it. I want to teach you in real time while I'm still here, so you're getting the freshest advice possible. And this space, which I'm so grateful for, is just going to allow us to do this every day in and out, time and time again. So my name is David Garibaldi. I'm going to give you one last look at this Teddy Swims portrait. Love y'all. Peace. Hope you enjoy. Thank you guys. By the way, if you can still hear me, and read some of your comments. I'm gonna go check out some of your comments right now. Ruben, shout out to you. Thanks for the praying hands. Fuzzy Dragon Books, always showing love. I appreciate you. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, this is surreal. Like seeing this on the screen finally after like dreaming about this moment for so long. This is wild. So grateful for all of you for watching. All right, take one last look. Until the next live stream, we'll see you soon. Peace.